99% of people who struggle with stainless steel pans make the same mistake before the food even touches the surface. Today's video will help you no longer have to worry about eggs burning or fish sticking and then burning in this stainless steel pan. Don't leave your stainless steel pan sitting unused in the kitchen just because you used it the wrong way before. Take it out and make full use of everything this pan can do. Let's go through each step together. First thing you need to understand about a stainless steel pan is that it needs a little time to heat up before you add any food. Stainless steel pans are very durable. They do not have a non-stick coating that can easily peel, and they can be used on most types of stovetops. But to use one effectively, you need to know how to preheat it properly. Start with a clean, completely dry pan, then place it over medium heat. To test it, add one very small drop of water to the pan. If the water just sits there and slowly disappears, the pan is still too cool. If it sizzles sharply and evaporates right away, give it a little more time. When the water forms a round bead and glides across the surface, the pan is ready for searing. This is called the Leidenfrost effect, but you do not need to remember the name. Just remember the sight of that little bead of water rolling around the pan. Let the water evaporate completely or wipe it away before adding the oil. By the way, if the pan I'm using today does not look especially pretty, there is a reason for that. I did not know these tips in the past either, and I used my pan the wrong way for quite a while. Over time, I learned from those mistakes, and I want to share what I discovered so you do not have to make the same ones. This test works best for meat, fish, and other foods that need higher heat. For eggs, butter, and more delicate ingredients, lower the heat once the pan is hot and wait a moment before adding the food. Once the pan has been properly preheated, it is time to add the oil. You do not need much. A thin layer is enough to coat the surface of the pan. Gently tilt the pan so the oil spreads evenly to the edges. Wait a few seconds for the oil to heat up. You will notice that it becomes thinner, moves more easily, and begins to shimmer lightly across the surface. That is a sign the pan is ready. For foods that need higher heat, you can use avocado oil, canola oil, peanut oil, or grapeseed oil because they handle high temperatures well. If the oil starts smoking heavily or smells burnt, the pan is too hot. Lower the heat or lift the pan off the burner for a moment before adding the food. You also do not need to keep the heat high throughout the entire cooking process. Once the food goes in, adjust the heat depending on what you are cooking. As long as you preheat the pan properly, add the oil at the right time and manage the heat well. You can use a stainless steel pan for frying, sautéing, searing, and many other dishes. And because there is no non-stick coating, you do not have to worry about it peeling over time. Now let's apply these steps to one of the foods that is often the most difficult to cook in a stainless steel panfish. Start by patting the fish very dry with paper towels, especially the skin. Any moisture left on the surface can cool the pan down and make the fish more likely to stick. When I was in college, a friend of mine from Eastern Europe used to complain that her fish always fell apart whenever she seared it in a stainless steel pan. As soon as she saw it sticking, she would try to lift it and the skin would tear. I told her to wait just a little longer because once the fish is cooked enough, it will naturally release from the pan. Preheat the pan. Add a thin layer of oil, then place the fish skin side down, lowering it into the pan away from your body to help reduce splattering. If the skin starts to curl, gently press it down with a spatula for the first 20 to 30 seconds, then leave the fish undisturbed as it cooks. Watch the side of the fillet. You will see the cooked color gradually move upward from the bottom and the skin will become firmer. Flip the fish only once, then cook the flesh side for a shorter amount of time. If the skin starts getting too dark, to quickly lower the heat. Just remember 3 things. Pat the fish very dry, keep the heat steady, and give it enough time to release from the pan on its own. Another food that used to be a nightmare for me to cook in a stainless steel pan is eggs. The key is to keep the heat moderate. Once the pan is hot, lower the heat slightly and add a thin layer of oil. You can also add a small pat of butter for extra flavor, but keep the heat gentle so the butter does not brown too quickly. If it feels easier, crack the egg into a small bowl first, then gently slide it into the pan. At this point, do not rush to move the egg. At first, the white may stick to the surface of the pan, but that is completely normal. As the bottom begins to cook, the edges will firm up and the egg will gradually release on its own. You may notice the egg shifts slightly. When you gently shake the pan, or a thin spatula may slide underneath easily. If the bottom starts browning too quickly, lower the heat. If the egg is still sticking, simply give it a few more seconds instead of trying to lift it too soon. For scrambled eggs, use lower heat and add a little butter or oil. Stir gently and remove the eggs while they are still slightly soft, because they will continue cooking on the plate. Do your eggs usually stick as soon as they go into the pan, or only when you try to flip them? Share it with me. After the eggs comes out of the pan, cleaning is much easier if you do not let the residue sit until everything is completely cold. Let the pan cool briefly, but try to wash it while it is still slightly warm. Wipe away any oil or loose pieces of food with a paper towel. Then add warm water, a little dish soap, and use a soft sponge to clean the surface gently. Pay attention to the area around the rivets where bits of food can collect. Try not to use a knife metal scraper or rough pad, since these can leave marks on the pan. There is also no need to soak it for a long time, unless food is firmly stuck. Most days, that simple routine is all your pan needs. But what if the food has already dried onto the bottom and ordinary washing will not lift the dark marks? Don't worry, I've had that happen too, and there is a gentler way to loosen the residue without exhausting your hands. Let the pan cool slightly, then add enough water to cover the stained area. Place it over low to medium heat and allow the water to simmer gently for 2 or 3 minutes. As the water warms, the stuck-on food will begin to soften. Use a wooden spoon or silicone spatula to loosen the residue without scraping hard. Then turn off the heat, let the pan cool, and wash it with warm water, dish soap, and a soft sponge. Sometimes a little warmth and patience work much better than extra force. Before we finish, I just want to say how happy I am that you spent this time with me today. I hope these 6 tips make cooking with stainless steel feel a little easier and much less frustrating. If this video helped you, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more nourishing recipes and practical kitchen ideas. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.